Hey friends, welcome to Enjoy Teaching Again, the podcast for teachers who love the work but need a little spark to bring the joy back. I'm your host, Elizabeth Peterson, classroom teacher, arts integration specialist, and passionate educator of over 25 years. If you're overwhelmed by behaviors, disengaged students, and long, exhausting days, you are not alone. But together, we can turn things around and you can teach with confidence and purpose again. So locate that cold coffee of yours, find your favorite pen, I know you have one, and let's dive in. It's time to get inspired and enjoy teaching again. You know, I see you. You're struggling to keep your students' attention. You're frustrated with the fact that you don't have any flexibility in your content anymore. You've tried the typical hacks and it just didn't really work out. Maybe you're tired of repeating directions 12 times a day, tired of students blurting out and shutting down. Maybe you're tired of feeling like your creativity has to live in a tiny corner because there's just no time for that. And maybe you're wondering if you can even do this job for another 5, 10, or 15 years. You're not crazy. Things have changed. You're not failing. You're actually a really good teacher. Heck, you've been at it for quite some time, haven't you? And you're definitely not alone. But if nothing changes, nothing changes. Look, I want to show you why my reset framework can get you to the place where your students are paying attention, engaged, self-regulating, and actually learning while you're teaching. I want you to stop piecing things together. I want you to stop looking around for the answer because I think you may have found it. I want you to start looking forward to going into school every single day. I'm going to help you to reset your classroom and we're going to improve student behavior in the most effective way. All right, so are you in? Go to theinspiredclassroom.com/reset and see if this is the thing you've been looking for. I often feel like I'm behind other teachers when it comes to getting through the content that I need to teach my students. Has that ever happened to you? There were years where I would just try to plow through each lesson in our math book or our language book or our writing curriculum, and often I would assume that maybe I was the problem. I mean, these teachers' manuals are supposed to work for everyone, right? They work for everybody else, I think. But no, that's not always the case because so many teachers that I talk to are not doing everything by the book, at least not all the time. Let's face it, our students are human beings and no book or program can know everything that we see when we look out into the faces of our students. So if you've ever paused your content to allow your students the extra time to edit a paper or redo an assignment or talk about a problem that's arose or create something, you're not alone. When push comes to shove, you would do anything to make sure that your students actually understand the concepts you're trying to teach, right? And that's part of what makes you such a good teacher. The thing is, it doesn't matter if you have the best intentions or you're engaging all your students' senses. Sometimes you might feel guilty for not keeping up with the curriculum. Now, I'm telling you this today because I don't want you to have that pressure of walking into school every morning thinking that you have to keep up with all of your teacher friends. There will be circumstances when you need to make a professional decision based on the needs of your students because you're a professional. Of course, we want to make sure we teach our students all the content that they need within the time frame that we have. And we also want to make sure that they get the most out of their experiences with us. But today, I'm popping into your ears to just give you a few positive reminders of your qualities as a teacher and your qualities as the teacher of your students. I want you to remember that while experts and professionals created the curriculum you teach, you are the one who's making the impact on your students. And you need to know that you absolutely can, quote unquote, get through the curriculum, even if your pace is a little bit slower or a little bit more in depth than the next guy. So when you take that little extra time to do some of the things that we talk about on this podcast all the time, things that are inside the reset framework, where you're working towards establishing a caring, creative classroom, when you're working on engagement strategies that are really going to hook your students in and get them invested in their learning, when you're taking the time to explicitly teach some of the social emotional concepts that you know your students need, those students that are right in front of you, that's you being the amazing, caring, professional teacher that you are. You can't get that from a book. What you do matters. And those decisions that you make in your classroom, you're doing them for the betterment of educating well-adjusted humans who are learning the content that they're responsible for learning. So today, don't simply try and figure out ways to make it through your curriculum. I want to encourage you to keep figuring out the lessons, the activities, the experiences that your students need in order to understand the content that you teach. You've got this. And I would love to hear more about the things that you're doing in your classroom. Come on and hop over to our community. Go to theinspiredclassroom.com/community and share a few things that you're working on. That's theinspiredclassroom.com/community. We're in this together. I hope this episode inspired you, encouraged you, or gave you a fresh idea to try. And if so, I would love for you to take a screenshot and text it to one of your teaching buddies. I'm so grateful that you landed here with me today, and it would mean the world to me if you would leave me a review over on Apple Podcast. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll catch you on the next episode. This is Elizabeth Peterson reminding you to get inspired so you can be inspiring to your students and enjoy teaching again.